All parties must commit to shared values, nation building, and social cohesion.
Now to South Africa, where leaders of the ANC have met to discuss how it will work with its rivals after last month's election failed to produce an outright winner.
We begin with South Africa, where time is running out for the African National Congress to shore up partners.
South Africans are waiting to see what their next government will look like following last week's elections.
Friday, we will know who is in, who is out, how a new look government will look like.
But one thing is certain, the ruling African National Congress has lost its majority.
Politicians from most parties currently locked away in talks about who will team up with you.
With a dismal 40% of votes in a general election, the ruling ANC, Africa's oldest liberation movement, once led by Nelson Mandela, has two main choices. One, to go against all odds and decide to govern with the official opposition, Democratic Alliance, DA. Analysts suggest that such a government would cause a political stir in South Africa, as DA opposes two of ANC's top priorities, black empowerment and universal health care. The two parties also differ on foreign policy, with the ANC leaning towards the East and the DA favoring ties with the West. Additionally, they have opposing stances on the ongoing Gaza conflict. However, some analysts believe that this coalition could strengthen neoliberal influences in policy making. Secondly, the ANC may form a coalition with the hardline Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, plus two or more other smaller parties. This could result in a more assertive rhetoric on redistribution. If so, the ANC would have to compromise on its market-led approach to economic policy making and harden its stance on redistribution. Given the EFF's 9.52% portion of the vote, the ANC would need to bring on board at least two smaller parties to secure a majority. This may include Action SA and Rise Mzansi, parties that share the social and economic transformation outlook of the ANC. A coalition with the newly formed Umkhonto weSizwe MK party, which came third, cannot be entirely ruled out. However, analysts doubt if President Ramaphosa and his predecessor MK leader Jacob Zuma could work together. Coalition talks must be concluded within 2 weeks, in time for the first sitting of the National Assembly, so that the 400 lawmakers can elect the next president by a simple majority. With 201 or more votes needed to determine the presidency, the ANC must navigate this coalition's dynamics carefully to secure a stable government.
Alright, so Jacob Zuma with the MK, they have become the biggest nightmare that the ANC can't handle right now. Let us talk. How possible is it that the man who have dedicated whole his entire life in order to make the ANC survive for so many years, today had become one of the biggest nightmares for the ANC? Guys, we are talking about the same man who have said that the ANC will be in power, or the ANC will rule until Jesus comes back.
Zuma said the ANC will rule until Jesus comes. He's in for a surprise. Or maybe Jesus will come sooner than he thinks.
Is there a future for this party? Indeed, ANC will rule till Jesus comes from the... I don't know for which year, but the ANC will rule.
Today, this man seems to be one of the biggest arrival right now in South Africa politics. Jacob Zuma, we all know that, is no longer doing part of the ANC. He participates in this previous election that took place inside the country, and he had to go and vote for this new political party that he had opened. We are talking about the MK, which stand in the third positions after the DA. And as you all know that the President of the Republic of South Africa last week, he had to call for the government of national unity.
We've therefore agreed that we will invite political parties to form a government of national unity as the best option to move our country forward.
Well, this government will be formed from different political parties who have to be part of this government, because going to coalition, it is something that was not going to be easy for the ANC, especially for the President of the Republic, President Cyril Ramaphosa, because the coalitions, it was going to come with a lot of demands, as politicians like to choose what they want to take in the position in order for them to lend you their voices. When the ANC, they've been trying to make effort to go ahead and have conversation with different political parties, they did also approach the MK of the former President Jacob Zuma. Unfortunately, according to the statement which was released by the SG of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, who had to say that no, the MK of former President Jacob Zuma, they did not respond back to them. They could not even make enough effort in order for them to tell the ANC at least what they want. But just the medias around the countries, local medias, even international medias, they had to make some effort in order for them to get to know what is the position of the MK when it comes to these coalitions or the national unity government, which will be announced very soon by the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, the words which the MK, they had to say, most of them, I'm referring to the MK members, they were saying that they are waiting to hear from Jacob Zuma, who's the leader of this political party, the leader in forms of the person who's running or the mastermind behind this MK political party. So they have to wait and hear from him on what he will decide. But former President Jacob Zuma, he's been very clear for some times now, and in some of the previous interview that he gave to some of the local medias, when he was asked whether he's going to work with the ANC or not, the man has been very clear, and he had individualized this fight that if the MK have to work with the ANC, well, that will be the MK working with the ANC, the one of everyone, and not this ANC of Ramaphosa, according to former President Jacob Zuma. He qualified this ANC saying that it belonged to President Ramaphosa and not to everyone who are within the ANC. But how he have to say so? Of course, there is a reason behind all this, because we all know that things become even more sour between former President Jacob Zuma and President Cyril Ramaphosa from the moment when Jacob Zuma decided to take President Ramaphosa to court, saying that he failed to assume his responsibility as the head of the state in order for him to protect former President Jacob Zuma. So since then, the battle has been opened up, and they are no longer in the same positions. Back in days, when the ANC were holding their 55th Congress in Nazareth in Soweto, we all saw how President Jacob Zuma, who had to come in and challenge the authority of President Cyril Ramaphosa by arriving some few minutes later after President Ramaphosa has been given the speech, and we saw how the ANC, delegates who were there, they had to be divided, because those ones who were supporting former President Jacob Zuma, they had to start singing, making noise in the wall, and singing those kind of songs, provocation songs, if I have to put it in that way, by asking President Cyril Ramaphosa of what he have done to Jacob Zuma. So since then, their relationships, they don't seem to be that good. At first, they were pretending, like we all know politicians, they would like to show you what is good in front of the cameras, because that is what they want you guys to see of them. But late on, for those who've been watching us, we had told you that there's something bigger than this. It's just a matter of time. You will see these two individuals, they'll start now hitting on each other face to face. And today, looking at how things now they are showing up, you can tell already that the relationship between President Ramaphosa and former President Jacob Zuma is not in the good stage at all. If you see President Ramaphosa, the moment when they had to suspend former President Jacob Zuma, you could see the way he was giving that statement. You can just tell that he was trying to show to everyone in the ANC, and including former President Jacob Zuma, saying that I am your boss here, I am your leader, and you have to comply to what I'm putting here, because you don't have just to come and do things around just because you once been the president of the ANC or you once have been the president of the Republic of South Africa. So President Ramaphosa trying to position himself with his leadership. On other side, we're having former President Jacob Zuma, who's trying to challenge the authorities of President Cyril Ramaphosa as the current president, not only of South Africa, but the current president of the ANC. So you see already that these two individuals, their relationship never been that good at all, and it's been for some times now. We can't deny this. Now, the President of the Republic, as I said earlier, he announced this.
As the NEC, we have already agreed in April 2023 on certain principles that should guide our approach to collaborating with other parties in coalitions. The principles we will collaborate with other parties are based on advancing the building of a united, democratic, non-racial, non-sexist, and prosperous nation. We further said that any such agreement of working with others must be based on a common minimum program that focuses on measurable targets for economic growth and inclusion, on service delivery and development.
The government's national unity, and then this government, of course, it is a government whereby there won't be someone who will be coming and say that, no, look, just because I have this much of seat in the parliament, you have to give me 1, 2, 3, 4. But this national, government of national unity, it is a government which will combine everyone. They have to contribute in one way or other way. And according to the reasons that President Ramaphosa have put on the table, it is to say that no, this government of national unity, it is going to help people of South Africa to defeat certain challenges that we've been facing for some times now. And of course, when President Ramaphosa have launched this government of national unity, it seemed to be that some of the political parties, they are not comfortable of it. Before we talk more about the MK with former President Jacob Zuma, let us talk a little bit about the EFF. We saw Julius Malema went and tweet on saying that they won't be sharing power with their enemies. Now, you might also ask a question to know, is Julius Malema right about this? What is motivating him to calling other people enemies? Because when he's talking about enemies, was he referring to the DA? But why Julius Malema have to call the DA as their enemies? Well, if you've been watching us again, you'll remember there's a couple of videos we spoke about this, on how the DA had declared an open war with the EFF of Julius Malema. They had launched a war to fight the EFF by all means, because according to DA, they had considered the EFF as their enemy number one.
And today, I publicly declare Julius Malema's EFF to be political enemy number one of the Democratic Alliance. And I commit the DA to fight back against the EFF at every turn, with the ultimate aim of defeating the Doomsday Coalition that could seal South Africa's fate next year.
And on other side, the EFF of Julius Malema, they had accepted the war as well. Since then, these people, they never come to work together. They never had to speak the same language, because DA is accusing the EFF, calling them that they are the doomsdays, and they don't deserve to be having power in this country. They don't deserve to lead at all, because for them, if they have to lead this country, EFF will be kind of like a disaster, according to the DA. On the other side, we are having the EFF who also calling the DA, saying that it is the hangover of apartheid regime. Whatsoever apartheid used to do back in days, it is something that the DA, they continue doing. They will apply the same thing because they are indeed the apartheid hangover. Well, now imagine this kind of people who can't speak same language, and all these politicians or political parties, they are supposed to be in the opposition side, but they are failing to speak even one language. Can you now have an idea of what will happen in this government of national unity? Imagine DA being seated somewhere there, PA being seated somewhere there, IFP being seated somewhere there, including ANC and the EFF. What will happen? Who's going to accept another person's idea? In the videos that we spoke about yesterday, I tried to explain to you again some of the challenges which will make these coalitions or this so-called government of national unity to be a serious problem for this country, because we are having leaders who don't put the interest of people of South Africa first. Instead, they prefer to put their own interest before everything. But in front of the cameras, they'll preach you the good news or the gospel news about the national unity government and so on and so on. But beyond backs, what will happen? Trust me, I'm afraid to say that we are about to experience another big drama very soon inside Parliament and the metros, so that these people, they will never gonna be able to speak one language, because they already start manifesting this. Now, the EFF, they had accepted to work with the ANC because the ANC had approached them. In the press conference that the ANC they had released recently or spoke about, they said that they had spoke with the IFP, DA, EFF, and everyone. They are ready and they want to work with them, obviously.
We have already held constructive discussions with a number of parties: the Economic Freedom Fighters, the Inkatha Freedom Party, the Democratic Alliance, the National Freedom Party, and the Patriotic Alliance. We've also engaged our alliance partners to brief them on the process, and will continue to seek their invaluable views and guidance. The ANC has entered these discussions with an open mind and a commitment to speak to all parties that have a stated intention to advance the interests of the people of South Africa.
But now, for the fact that DA have to go and find EFF inside, EFF have to find DA inside this government national unity, well, that become now a problem. Now the EFF, they are begging off, saying that no, we are not going to allow to be sharing power with these people because they are our enemies. Besides that, the EFF, they've been fighting for some times now for the increasing of wage. The EFF, they want to remove or to even decrease some of the wages.
This fuss is currently not working. It is a mess. The system, the funding model is bloated, and this is why the Democratic Alliance has today tabled an alternative solution that will ensure that we have a tiered funding model to ensure that we have more poor students that are able to get funding in a way that has partnership with the private sector to ensure that we have more loans, cheaper loans that can be paid off, but also more funding for the missing middle. We also want to ensure that the accommodation crisis across campuses is dealt with by scrapping the accommodation cap, because geographical property rates are different per institution. So, but ultimately, we have a solution in place that the government can copy and paste now and fix the crisis.
Already you see that there's a serious problem there. But in the meantime, when all these conversations are taking place, you might ask a question to know what is happening or what is going on with the MK of former President Jacob Zuma. Where are they standing in all this? Of course, these people, as I said at the beginning of this conversation that we're having with you here, that they have become the big nightmare to the ANC. How? Well, it is very simple. You have just to see what's been happening so far, do your own mathematics, then you'll understand on how the MK with Jacob Zuma, they are busy affecting the ANC slow by slow without them even noticing it. At first, no one could not have an idea that Jacob Zuma will have the impact that is having it today. Many people, they thought that the man is too old, he won't be able to resist. Many people said that, okay, now that he decided to go and campaign and vote for another political party which he himself had opened, well, it is about time the truth get to be exposed so that you go out there and you won't come out with enough result. Then from then, they'll have the courage to even expel him from the ANC. Unfortunately, the small lions that people thought that does not have the tooth to bite, they end up biting. And they bite up in a very bad way. The MK of Jacob Zuma, they did not just came like among the top 20 or top 10 political parties in this previous election took place, but they came number 3. Right now, according to the constitutions, they are standing in the 3rd biggest political party in South Africa. Like it or not, that is a sign of showing that this is not something that the ANC should continue minimizing it. Because neglecting someone like Jacob Zuma, at first, it was kind of like neglecting the danger which was ahead of them. And now that Jacob Zuma had manifest his, or tried to demonstrate, actually the proper word I'm trying to use, he did demonstrate his power out there, and everyone can see that Jacob Zuma have a lot of voters. You have people who still believe in him regardless of the age that the man is. Well, that had make the ANC start now realizing that, okay, we might be talking about DA, the EFF, but these people, they are even cool with us. We know how to manage them, we know how to get along with them, we know how to fight with them. But they were not expecting that they will be having a new arrival, which will be the MK with Jacob Zuma. They neglected them, and the next things they had to pay with a very high price. Imagine if MK was not there. All those voters who voted for the MK, they had only 2 options or 2 choices: to go back and vote for the ANC or to go ahead and vote for the EFF. So MK, when they came up with this new political party, they did not just destroy the ANC as the ruling party, but they even destroyed some of the opposition political party, such as the EFF. They had to drop the number of their voters, all because it was more people who were supposed to be voting for the EFF, they had to go and vote for the MK. That is the naked truth. Look at the result of these previous elections at KwaZulu-Natal. Look at how the EFF performed over there. Look in the previous elections that took place in 2019. You will understand how these voters had to disappear just like that. The president of EFF, Julius Malema, himself, he even clarified it when he was asked a question to know why the EFF have lost many voters. Could it be because the EFF policy about opening border or whatsoever? Well, Julius Malema was very clear, saying that no, the problem here, it is the MK who came and took some of our voters who had voted for us. We thought that these voters, they were still gonna vote for the ANC, for the EFF, but they went back and voted for the MK because they were not really members of the EFF, but they were members of the MK.
It's not true what you are saying. Rena problem ya rena. Kim MK. MK took our votes which it borrowed to us in 2019. There's no any other explanation other than that.
So these are the things that the ANC now end up realizing that, okay, with the EFF, we know how to manage them, we know how to fight with them, we know how to negotiate with them. But this MK, they seem like to be doing things in a very stubborn ways. The elections came up, they reject up the result, they do not want to accept the result, and they were asking the recount of result. They even went to this a certain point of saying that they should just do the revote of these elections. That already, it is a very big problem. The only things that had to destroy the MK right now a little bit on their decisions that they have took so far by denying this and they rejected the result and went straight to court and accused the IEC over there. The only things that destroying them a little bit is because they do not have the support of big opposition political parties such as the EFF, such as the DA. Because if these two political parties could have just also come forward and said that no, we don't accept this result from the IEC, we want this to be done and that, I believe the IEC will have maybe restart these elections, or maybe they will have do the recount of the votes. But just because they came and made this announcement on their own, when the EFF on the other side, they are busy accepting the result of these elections, the DA approving it at the same time, by then he had to leave the IEC without no choice than to announce the winner of this election as they did.
That the people shall govern. Our people have spoken. Whether we like it or not, they have spoken. Warata lao sarati, babuile bat.
So, since then, the ANC, at least they were expecting to see the MK coming up to the table of negotiations when it comes to this government of national unity. They were expecting to see at least if they could be able to bring the MK of Jacob Zuma to the table. But unfortunately, the MK of Jacob Zuma, they did not only reject or deny the announcement of President Ramaphosa as the President of the Republic, but they reject even the invitations which the ANC have tried to approach them. And they keep on refusing, saying that no, if we have to negotiate, we're not going to negotiate with the ANC of Ramaphosa.
We won't engage with the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa. We can have a discussion with the ANC. But the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa? How is that possible?
In reality, how does that work? Cyril Ramaphosa is the leader of the ANC.
We will not engage in a discussion with the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa.
Which ANC?
The ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa. We can have a discussion with the ANC. We'll engage with the ANC, but not the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa.
Which one are you going to?
Which the current ANC is under who?
So are you saying, as long as Cyril is the leader of the ANC,
we won't engage with the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa. It's bought. The presidency was bought. It's a fact. So how are we going to engage the person who's a traitor who is bought?
So the question is direct. It's saying as long as he's
and my response is direct.
You're not going to engage.
My response is direct. It's clear. We're not going to engage with the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa.
Do you have such a shopping list?
We'll engage with the ANC. We'll have a discussion with them, but not the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa.
But Ramaphosa have to resign from the office. They've been calling for this for some times now. But the SG of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, he came also to clarify things and make things even more clear, saying that there is no such a thing. If that has to do of us not going to coalition of these political parties, so let it be, because Ramaphosa is not going anywhere. Ramaphosa is being voted by people of South Africa, because when the ANC sent Ramaphosa to go and represent them to this general election, when people they were voting, they knew very well that no, they were voting for Ramaphosa. So there is no way that some group of people or someone seated somewhere who have to come and call for resignations of President Ramaphosa. So they feel like no, that's not something that will allow it to happen. Now, they stay on their point. On the other side, the MK, so far, according to our results, they don't seem to be to be part of this government of national unity. They don't want to be part of it because, of course, it is President Ramaphosa whom they don't want to be there. Is the one who will have to announce this government of national unity. So now what will happen next now? Obviously, the MK, if they decide, because so far they have not even decided to appear inside the parliament, unless if I'm missing up something, but that's what I know so far.
And this leads your bulletin. The MK party files an urgent application for the Constitutional Court to interdict Friday's first sitting of Parliament.
They have not announced like to be part of the parliament, which is normal. For me, I understand them. Why? Because they still inside the court. Remember, they contest this election result. They deny it. They don't accept it. So they are inside the court while they're still waiting to hear what will be the outcome of the court. Of course, they don't have to go and appear inside the parliament, because if they have to go and appear inside the parliament, well, which means whatsoever they have done so far to take the IEC to court, it will be just useless, because going inside the parliament, it is kind of like you are acknowledging the new elected members of the parliament, the new elected president. You are acknowledging their authorities, and that will be a case clause. So obviously they're still waiting, and for them going to the parliament, of course they will go to the parliament. Take my word on that one. They'll go to the parliament. I'll tell you why. Because for me, I think I've told you guys this before. It was a very big mistake for former President Jacob Zuma to start contesting or rejecting the results of these previous elections. It was not a good idea, because we all know that they've been fighting him inside the court. They've been taking him in court. They've been trying to remove him from these elections. They did everything they could. Whether it is the IECE, whether it's the ANC, you could tell already that this is a politic battle between politicians. Well, now him is supposed to wait at least for him to place his root everywhere, having connection here and then, inside the court, outside the court, from different parts. Then you can be able to start now contesting on certain things. But unfortunately, that's not happening, because them going to the court, there won't be out something good. Trust me. This Friday, obviously, will be all in the parliament, and that's already, it's gonna just show that whatever they're expecting to hear from the inside the court, it won't help, because they'll come and tell them that no, they reject your application, they did that. You know, this court things how it usually work. So guys, that is how it position now the MK as the official opposition political parties, because they won't be part of this government of national unity. So if they have to go to the parliament now, they'll be going as on their own as politicians. I mean, as the oppositions. Now the problem here is that what kind of opposition party are them going to have if they have to go to the parliament? Because if you take the EFF of Julius Malema, we all know that these are radical opposition political party. But when it comes to the MK with Jacob Zuma, we don't know what kind of opposition political party that they are going to build inside the parliament. We shall wait and see about that. But please feel free also to tell us also what you think, what will happen after they have announced this government of national unity. Who's going to benefit who, and who's going to be the winner out of all this? Will people of South Africa have to celebrate and be happy about this, or is there gonna be like much complaint about it? So we shall wait and see, but feel free to drop us your comment in the comment section. Tell us also what you think about what we just discussed with you in this video. That will be all for today. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video until now. We really do appreciate your time. But before you leave, do us a favor, make sure that you hit that like button and share the videos in your number. If you find anything beneficial in this video, feel free to join and subscribe to this big family of Cool Buzz TV. And that to be all for now. Continue to be yourself. Be good, be kind, have respect for everyone in order for you to be respected. May God bless you all. I'll see you again very soon. Ciao, ciao.